Welcome to More Patience, More Impact, More Income, the podcast for real holistic medical practitioners who want to grow their high-impact, high-income practice without selling out. And now, here's your host, Chris Axelrad.
What's up, everybody? All right, we're going to talk about the nagging again, and we're going to talk about envy. We're going to talk about these 7 deadly omissions or sins, which, again, is not about pointing the finger, being judgmental, all that kind of stuff. It's about looking at ourselves and checking ourselves, because as healers, as medical I don't even like to say medical practitioners. You know what? The bottom line is we're healers. We're more than just fixers and technicians. If we're really practicing this medicine the way it was intended to be practiced, then we, just by our presence and the way we show up, we bring medicine to the people who need it. It's that simple. And so I have no problem with the term healer. Some people, for some reason, feel weird calling themselves that. That's fine. I get that. But I've always known since I was young that that's really who I am and what I stand for. So here's the thing. Again, what we want to talk about is the fact that a sin is an omission. It's a hole in the bucket. It's not something we're doing on purpose. We're not filling the bucket with dirty water. Actually, the water is clear. We're just leaking it out because of something that's missing that we need to plug up. And that's what a sin is. So when we envy, what we're doing is we are wanting to be someone else. And I talk all the time about not exiting the frame. I talk about this in War Room a lot, because really, when we are in clinic and we're with patients and we're really guiding an experience for them, right? And the whole point of us, when we bring people into our world through our marketing and through whatever channels that we're using for our outreach, right? And those people become attracted into our space, then what we're really doing is that we're bringing them into a new frame. We're bringing them into a new way of looking at themselves. We're bringing them into a new way of showing up in their lives. Whether you realize you're doing that or not, that's what you're doing, because when they look to you for guidance and they look to you for help, that is what they want from you. They are looking for a frame, a new way of seeing things, not just to be fixed, right? Not just to have their pain relieved. They're looking for leadership and guidance. If you look at the medical system and you listen to the complaints that people have about the way things are done in the conventional medical system, really all the things they complain about, you can look at that, and the foundation is lack of leadership. It's lack of the doctor, the practitioner, whoever it is, really showing up and taking a leadership role in the patient's life and guiding that patient. People don't feel cared for. They don't feel like someone's listening to them because the person doesn't really care and isn't really listening. And those are 2 things that real leaders do. Real leaders actually care about the people that follow them. And by the way, if you look at the root of the word doctor, the root of the word doctor is the Latin word docere, which means what? To teach. When you see PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, the whole term doctor is not technician, fixer, surgeon, whatever. It is primarily to be a teacher. When people come to us and we don't care about them, we expect them to follow us, but we don't really care about them, then we're not really showing up as leaders. We expect them to follow us and we're not listening to them, then we're not showing up as leaders. We expect them to follow us and we are not being confident and sure in ourselves, then we are not showing up as doctors, as teachers, as leaders. Now, the key is this: when we're immersed in envy, what we're doing is we're exiting our own frame. We're wanting to be someone else. We're wanting to be somewhere else. We're like, we talked yesterday about greed is like, it's never enough. We just keep wanting more and more, and we're never satisfied, and we lose gratitude. And that causes us to exit the frame. We're no longer present with our patients. Envy does the same thing. And the key is this: there's always going to be somebody who's ahead of you. Okay. There's always going to be somebody who maybe knows more than you, or maybe has more money than you, or has more patience than you, or has a life that you think, at least from the outside, looks like something amazing, like something you want. What I want to tell you about that is that there's a lot of people, and this happens on social media all the time. There's a lot of people who are really good at making things look really good. And they post stuff, and based on what they post, based on how things look from the outside, you would think that they're living the dream. But if you knew what was going on behind the scenes, okay, like a lot of those people are fucking miserable. Okay. And you can look at, for examples, just look at Hollywood stars and rock stars, whoever, right? Famous people who you think have everything in the world. I mean, the example, Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain, people like that seem like they're living the dream, right? And then look what happens. So what is the point when you look at someone else and you look at what's going on for them and you interpret that as something that puts you down a peg, and you envy that and you want to be that, when you don't even know what's really going on? It's a total waste of time. And the key is this: it kills your success in your practice because you're not staying present with yourself, and you're not staying present with your patients. For instance, people who think, oh man, I don't know enough, and I want to know as much as, Jane knows. And patients come in and they're thinking about Jane and what Jane knows, when they themselves, the practitioner, thinking all this time about Jane knows so much and I don't know shit and I need to be like Jane. And it's like, no, you know a fucking lot. And actually, if you would just settle down, stay in the moment, stop exiting the frame, be in the frame with your patient right there, care and listen, and then just use what you have. Use the resources you have right here to do the best job you can. That's how you actually grow. That's how you actually become a better practitioner. When you are in a state of envy, you just freeze in place. Like, you aren't looking at the resources you have. You aren't learning how to use those resources in powerful and impactful ways. And so that's why, again, when they say the 7 deadly sins, what are they talking about? They're not talking about you're going to die, but although sometimes, yeah, I mean, if you're greedy enough or you're jealous enough and you do some stupid stuff to prove something, then yeah, there are people who literally physically expire because they drive too fast, or they, whatever they're doing that's being fueled by this envy and this greed. But what they're really talking about is it just kills your joy. It kills your life force, your purpose, your happiness. There's only one place that you can be happy. There's only one place that you can find joy, and that's in the present moment. Joy does not exist in the future, and joy does not exist in the past. It only exists right here. And the cool thing about joy is that joy is the ground of existence. The ground of existence is something I call abiding joy. And when you can just settle into the present moment and stop thinking that you need more, that you always need more, that's greed. And stop thinking everyone else has something I don't have, that's envy. Then, man, the power that you begin to concentrate, the energy and the impact that you begin to become capable of is far beyond anything you can imagine. Far beyond anything you can imagine. And even you will be amazed at the stuff that starts happening in your life when you start showing up and being present and staying in the frame of this present moment.
If you're ready to fill your practice and keep it full without the stress and overwhelm, then get instant access to your free autopilot patient attraction playbook now at www.highimpactpracticesystems.com/autopilot.
Just to wrap this up, when you can't stay within your own frame, you cannot expect yourself to be able to hold and sustain and lead someone else into a different frame. So whenever you end up with somebody, you can always tell. Like, I was just talking to someone today, actually, about joining War Room, and they were telling me, and this is funny because this is a perfect example of how envy eats away at the mind and eats away at the heart and eats away at our power. She had attended a training with somebody, like a coach, a guru, whatever, who's, similar in terms of, working with acupuncturists. I'm not going to say their name. I don't engage in petty BS because it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. I got better things to do. But she was telling me literally that this person that was leading the seminar really spent a lot of the time in the seminar saying bad things about other people who were also, business coaches, whatever, and including myself in that. And on top of that, what she told me is that the whole like event was just very discombobulated, and there was just a lot of really, kind of bad energy going on. And she didn't feel like that she was really learning a lot because of the fact that this person was just so focused on saying bad things about such and such person and such this, and this person sucks and whatever. And even to the point where she told me that the person was like having a conversation with somebody off to the side about me, which is like mind blowing. I mean, number one, like, I don't even know why somebody would even be thinking about me at one of these events, but that's what envy does, right? And in some way, this person, really where that comes from is this very deep pain within them of thinking that I'm a threat to them or something, and having this, in a way, envy. And where does that come from? It comes from here. Nothing makes us do this. These are things that come from within our own minds, and we're just poisoning ourselves. And then by poisoning ourselves, we lose our focus and we lose our frame, and then we can't hold an integrated frame and really lead other people. And so you have got to let go of everything in terms of wanting to be someone else, feeling like you have to compete with other people, and just be yourself. That is how you escape the trap of envy. Be yourself, and just be content to be yourself. Speak your truth. Now, you may believe, I do believe, that the things that I teach are really, really good. And if we just had a objective comparison of stuff that I teach versus stuff that some other people teach, I think the stuff I teach gets people results a lot more effectively, because I've seen a lot of people that have come into my program who've had different teachers and told me the things that were going on. And I just know that the stuff I teach has a lot. When you're confident in yourself, that's different than pride. We're going to talk about pride later, but it's okay to be confident and know, hey man, I'm a badass. Like, I'm good at this shit. And I'm not saying I'm better than such and such. I'm not saying such and such sucks. And I'm not saying such and such person is horrible, because everybody gets what they need, Everybody gets attracted to the people that they need to learn from at that time. If nothing else, sometimes just to learn that the person's full of shit. Sometimes to learn that the person is not who they say they were, so that they can learn how to have better discernment down the line. And that's fine, But the key is this: be confident in yourself, be yourself. And that's how you fill that hole of envy in your bucket, and you stop leaking all that power, and you begin to concentrate that power and start to show up in a way that just starts to build so much momentum in your practice, not just results that your patients are getting, but more referrals, more everything. And you start to tune into that intuition, that seed intelligence that I love to talk about all the time in my program. So speaking of that, look, I put a link in the description of this video. I'm available to help you. I will help you build your practice. I will help you learn how to market yourself in a way that doesn't take a lot of energy and doesn't take a lot of time, because it's this amplified effect. When you're doing the right things and you have the right message and you have the right alignment between you, your heart, your soul, your message, and the market, things just start to take on a life of their own, and you really don't have to do all that much. It's in our medicine, we talk about flow. We talk about things being in alignment and flowing. And in our marketing and our business, that's exactly what gives you the most power, is when you have an alignment between your desire, what you want to do, who you want to help, and then the message that you're putting out there and the process that you have in the clinic that helps to facilitate those results. When all of that is in alignment, things are really fucking easy. And that's because, nature, when nature's in flow, when we look at mountains and we look at oceans and we look at all of these beautiful things that nature has created, nature didn't have to work that hard to do it. Nature just naturally does that. And when we are in alignment and we are fulfilling that natural flow within ourselves, then our own success becomes easy. And that's what I teach in War Room. That's why witnessing all the people in my program who are just, really having really awesome breakthroughs and having some amazing shifts in not only their mindset, how they see themselves and how they see their practice, but shifts in how things are flowing in their lives, and just their confidence level of being able to, do things like go out and get their own space or get a bigger space or hire an associate or hire another employee or hire an admin, whatever it is. It's a beautiful thing to witness, and it's happening left and right in my program. Anybody who has been in there will tell you that, and I will help you. I'll teach you how to blow up your practice in a good way, of course. Like just how to live your dream, fill your schedule, see the kind of patients you want to see, have a blast. It's totally possible. So peace out, y'all. I got to run. Got to go to my folks' house. See y'all soon.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.